I want to know what you guys heard out here. I mean, from the day one, I just want to hear everything you guys experienced out here. So I'm not like, making all this shit up.
Do you want to go first?
You want to go clockwise?
Starting with Steven?
Yeah.
With me? Okay. So the first night here, while I was in my tent, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard some kind of loud crash knock sound. It was really loud. I've heard it a couple of other times since I've been here, and I think just about everybody else has heard it too. It doesn't quite have the boom of a gunshot or the crack of a tree knock. I'm not really sure what it was. Then I've heard the distant screams. I heard, I think, about 3 or 4 last night, just sitting here. And then I've heard a couple of distant knocks. And then earlier today, I heard something really weird. I heard I had turned around and had my back to the wood line and thought I heard just a really short whisper, like, I don't know, it was really creepy. But I think that sums up just about everything I heard. I don't think I've left anything out. The weird, loud boom, the screams, the knocks, and the whispers.
I've gone Bigfoot hunting before, and it was pretty quiet. We didn't hear very much. So when I was coming out to Stevens County, I was a little skeptical when Will and his buddy were like, "Dude, we were hearing screams last night, and it was all night long." And I was, "What are you guys talking about? Like, what kind of screams? What were you hearing?" And so the second night we were out here, I heard for myself this scream, and it wasn't a bird call. It wasn't a deep growl of a bear, but it was something off in the distance that was really given a real vocalization, and it was something I never heard before, and so that was really interesting. And it really backed up what Will and his buddy was saying. So that was fun. And then right after the next day, we were seeing some weird tracks that we just can't explain, and some many tree knocks. I mean, the knocking has not like 10 an hour or anything, but a few a day that we're hearing, and it's just really interesting to be able to hear so much activity in the woods when this whole campground is empty. So cool.
I concur about the wood knocks. I hear about them. I've experienced them a couple of times, and all the times I've been doing this, and I've seen and heard things that I haven't other places. The wood knocks, like you said, Josiah, we've gotten several a day. And last night, I remember we were sitting over in Will and Adrian's camp, and it was just this huge boom sound, and we're like, could that be a gun? It really didn't sound like a gunshot. We're right near a lake, so it really did sound like a power knock that was echoing across the lake. Not sure, but that's what it sounded like. Last night also was when we heard the screams that you guys have been talking about, and what I remember hearing were 4 screams, like in a steady succession, and then there was a break and 4 more. And that's all I could say is that they sounded like screams. From what, I'm not sure. It didn't sound like a fox, didn't sound like any kind of an animal that I'm familiar with. This morning, I woke up and I heard right away what I can only say sounded like a roar. And the first thing that I thought about, I know it sounds crazy, was either a T-Rex or a lion or something roaring. It was in the distance, but not like super distant. And it was just very powerful roar sound. I lay there for about a minute, I'd say, and waited to hear if I heard it again. And then I took a screenshot of my phone so that I knew right when it happened. So maybe Will can check his audio. And I know that it was right around that same time that Stephen woke up as well. So we're wondering if maybe it woke him up.
Okay, well, since I've been out here, I have heard more activity that is unexplained out in the woods around us than anywhere that I've ever been. But one of the most significant things is up until now, I was always kind of skeptical about tree knocking until being here. Because, you'll hear some things, maybe it's a crash, or, you'll hear some noise and it may sound like wood hitting wood. But in the 3 days that I've been out here, I've heard it consistently at certain times, day after day, which to me, it sounds exactly what a tree knock would be. I mean, it's something beaten on a tree. And we've heard that periodically since the time that we've been out here. And then the other thing is that the odd vocalizations that we have heard, the screams in particular, which are actually very kind of disturbing. But the particular thing about those is you can tell. I mean, you can easily identify that it is not something. It's not a bird. It's not a dog. You know what I'm saying? It is something that is unidentified. But the sound is definitely not an animal that you would, mimicking something that's out here. And then on top of that, we found more physical evidence than I think that we've ever seen. Now, it's not conclusive by any stretch of the imagination. However, it's very intriguing and very interesting when you look at it, because you can't say particularly that is, a bear or not, but there's a big consistency. And then you take in account the imprints, which we followed up the hill the other day, in Beans's imprint, which we've cast, which we're very excited to pick up tomorrow. It's very intriguing. I'd really like to come back out here. My opinion on, finishing up this expedition that we've done up here is that there is something out here in this area. There's something in these woods that's doing this. It's not human. And that's my thoughts.
Cool.
And that is my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because there is something out here. There's something going on up here, man. You ever see the movie The Evil Dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of creepy shit. This place has that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It has that vibe because I think what you've got going on out here is something that's, you may have a squatch, right? But there's also some of this supernatural stuff out here, I think, because it's especially after what Beans was talking about when we were, after the walk down the trail, the voices that you heard and stuff like that, right?
I think maybe they talk.
What's that?
Like Sierra sounds type stuff. Could be. I don't know.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just flaring
And there was
the
nothing
direction
there.
that I thought it came
Yeah.
from. Like I had just, swept that area with my FLIR, and it didn't sound like it was like super far away. I mean, it sounded like it
Yeah.
was just like a few feet behind me.
Because, man, I will tell you, I've heard voices before, on Vancouver Island in particular. I've been to some really creepy places, but you're way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's like you think like you hear somebody whispering or talking. You know what I'm saying? It's just
This place has kind of that kind of a vibe, like you said. And we were joking and everything that I go out by myself, I go out with other people, and I kind of don't get real afraid anymore.
Yeah.
But last night and it was partially Will's story that he was telling, but partially it was just this. It is a vibe, but it's a good way to put it. It's a little intimidating, like I'm not gonna really go out walking here by myself, and I don't know that I would come back. Maybe because I like to do things that I'm afraid to do, but I don't think I would choose to come out here camping by myself.
Yeah. Well, I go out by myself in Alaska,
Yeah.
which is not really advisable, but I do, and I wouldn't stay here by myself.
No, when you start hearing those screams, like what we've heard, I mean, that's like it sounds, like a beast. I mean, it's animalistic. It's like a beast, I mean, it's something that's like screaming for whether he's angry or, whatever, trying to intimidate, things of that nature. You're trying to freak you out.
And sometimes I feel like it's not just what we've heard, but what we didn't hear. Because like today when we were walking up that road, and Will pointed out, there was no animal sounds going up through that forest. There weren't birds, there weren't like squirrels or anything like that. And there's been sometimes here we've had squirrels, but other times it gets very silent, and
Yeah.
that can be intimidating in itself. And as we came back down the trail, then the birds were there and the squirrels, and so to see that difference within a short time period, that's a little I don't know
Yeah.
what word I'm trying to think of, but it's just
It's odd.
oppressive, I think,
Yeah.
you know.
Because animals generally go silent when
Yeah.
there's a threat in the area.
Yeah, so the silence is just as foreboding
Yeah.
as the screams and power knocks and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we still have tonight.
Yes, we do.
One more night, we'll see what happens.
I'm excited. Like I told you, I've probably other expeditions I would have already left, but this one I'm
Yeah.
sticking it out to the end. I go out with different groups of people to different places quite often, and I'll be sitting there and people will be talking about, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I heard this, I heard that, and I'm always left, no, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
No, I think that was a dog. You can normally attribute what people are hearing or I'm hearing to some kind of an animal, and that's not the case here.
Yeah.
I've heard the stuff. I don't know what it was, and it's fun. Scary, but it's a little scary. I'm not afraid to admit it. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I heard owl this morning. I've heard owl,
Yeah.
I think, every morning since we've been here. So I'm hearing normal things. But I'm also hearing things I've never heard before.
So we had a little activity about, how long ago did Amy leave? About a half hour?
Yeah.
Say we had some activity about maybe 45 minutes ago. Amy did a call, got answered back by a quick knock. Now we're just sitting around the campfire and we heard a knock that was very close to the second camp here, but in the rear of our camp. And then a sound coming from my camp. So we went and checked that out. Didn't see anything out of the ordinary. There's definitely something moving around our camp. Everything that's happening tonight is very similar to what happened to us 4 years ago. Basically, we're being flanked. So I volunteered to stay up all night and provide a little security and protection for these guys, because they're leaving early tomorrow morning. This is where the fun's going to begin. If I don't die, I'll report back later. Well, it's almost 3 in the morning. And I'm just sitting by the fire. Just another 3 more hours and it'll be dawn. We heard a power knock. It's the strangest sounding knock. It's just so loud. We've been hearing them for off and on for 4 days now, in different locations around the lake. After that last knock, it just seemed like everything just kind of calmed down. So I got
drinking a monster drink right now just to keep my edge. So basically, I'm just going to keep the fire going. Wait until sunrise. Every so often you hear something moving around. Something's moving around.